Stories that touch your heart. Barb's Beats.
Kris Drollinger and Harold Mester have both been touched by blindness and visual impairment in their lives. That's why they volunteer at ABLE, Audio and Braille Literacy Enhancement, a nonprofit organization in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Kris helps wherever she's needed. Harold donates his time as a board member. Each person had challenges growing up. Their stories are very different, but the way they view those experiences and how they use them provide lessons for us all.
Hi, my name is Kris Drollinger. I'm a volunteer at ABLE and have been here off and on since the 80s, depending on what my life circumstances were when I was raising my daughter. So I had to cut back a little, but now all is good and I'm nearing retirement and my daughter is grown. And so I volunteer here on a weekly basis as much as I can. I do bursting of materials to bind into book form. I proofread. I do anything they ask me to do that I can do. ABLE's here to help you. I am a recipient, and I have been a recipient since about 1970. And when I was born, I was originally born blind. I could see light and dark, things like that, but nothing beyond that. My mom had German measles when she was pregnant with me, which resulted in my birth defect. And then when I was about 14, they did remove the cataracts, which was a marvel, of course, because then I could see the stars and I could see leaves on the trees and I could see people's faces. As a result of this surgery, or these several surgeries, I have double vision. I just stuck with Braille, and I can read some large print, but because I was never taught that as a child, I just limp along. I can read can labels and things like that, but, for the most part, I am a Braille reader and an audio reader. If a blind person can't read Braille, then they're technically illiterate, and that's a very sad thing. Even if you're not a proficient Braille reader, if you lose your vision and you're an older person, if you can at least read a few things where you can read a phone number that you might have to Braille down, or a color that you can put a label on a red shirt or a blue pair of pants, just some indicators that help make your life easier, because without Braille, your life isn't going to be as easy as it could. But as you know, you can't always get every book available in Braille or on audio disc. I mean, they just don't print or make a book of everything that's ever published. So when I can't get a book available to me, I just buy it and bring it down to ABLE, and someone reads it for me, and I've got it, and I can pop it into my machine and listen to the whole book. So it's a great service, just not just for work purposes, but for recreation as well. One of my reasons, actually, for coming down here to be a volunteer is to pay it back, because they did so much for me. And now, I have to say, it's the most fun place for me to be and love every single minute of it.
My name's Harold Mester, and I'm the board chair of ABLE, Audio and Braille Literacy Enhancement, and I really enjoy working with all the staff and volunteers here at ABLE. I've been on the board for ABLE for about 10 years now, actually, just about. I was kind of recruited because I grew up with blind parents, so I have a personal history and kind of understand some of the challenges and some of the opportunities that blindness gives individuals. To me, it's normal, because I don't know any different. And probably the biggest thing that makes it different is not having a vehicle. Everyone has a car, but if you have blind parents, you don't have a car. And what's interesting is, I was the first one in the family that was able to drive, so that was a big deal. And I thought, oh man, this is great. I'm never not going to have a car. Well, guess what? Now I don't have a car. I take the bus to work, and we use zip cars, and we live downtown, so we walk or take the bus. So I don't have a car again. It's just like it was whenever I was a kid. My father, who's now deceased, was totally blind, and my mother has a little bit of vision in one eye, and she's blind in the other eye. I found myself, once I learned how to read, I was reading items out of the newspaper to my parents. So guess what career I went into? I was reading news just to a wider audience, so I became a radio news reporter. And I did that in Cleveland, Ohio, and then moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and eventually transitioned into more of a public relations role. I am really impressed that there are volunteers that have no reason to learn Braille that decide to learn this special language and read something that probably 99.9% of the sighted public has no idea about. That just fascinates me that someone would want to learn that, and that they're enthusiastic about it, and that they know they're helping people. I just think that's amazing. There's such a sense of community and working together at ABLE. Everybody has a great time. And I think under the leadership of Cheryl and the support that she gets from the ABLE board, I think there's something really special going on here. And once somebody experiences what ABLE is like, they're hooked and they want to come back and they want to get involved and find out how they can help more. And I just, for a nonprofit, that's pretty special, I think.
Stories that touch your heart. Barb's Beats.